He raised his hands. He goes, "What are you doing?" I said, "Well, I want my deposit back." He says, "You're not getting your deposit back," and he walked in the house.
What? But I don't understand. Why wasn't that? If someone tells me, no, I'm not going to accept a certified check, I tell them, okay, let me go to the bank, get the money, and come back and get my Bobcat.
This is the plaintiff, Alfred Holden. He says he gave the defendant a partial payment for a Bobcat construction vehicle he was selling. But when he went to pick it up, the guy refused to accept the final payment. Now won't return his money. He doesn't know who this man thinks he is, but he's suing for his $1,500 back and expects the judge to see things his way. This is the defendant, Thomas Jimo. He says he made a cash deal for the sale of his Bobcat to the plaintiff, but the guy tried to pay him the balance by check. The plaintiff refused to honor the cash deal. He canceled the contract, and he owes him nothing. He's accused of being a double-crosser.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
What you are about to witness is real. The participants are not actors. They are actual litigants with a case pending in civil court. Both parties have agreed to drop their claims and have their cases settled here before Judge Marilyn Milian in our forum, the People's Court.
People's Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Marilyn Milian is now presiding. Litigants have been sworn in, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas. Okay. Mr. Hotling, you saw an ad that Mr. Jimo had on Facebook Marketplace. And what was it for?
It was for a Bobcat skid, sir.
And who were you buying it for?
My stepson.
Who wanted to do what?
He opened up a landscaping company. So
Okay.
it's a little machine that has a bucket on the front that can load things up into a dump truck and everything.
Okay. And when you say little machine, you drive it, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's not
yes.
that little. All right, so I know what a Bobcat is, but what I wanted to ask you is, what price did you agree with him upon? He was asking $8,900. How much did you guys settle on?
I believe 8,400.
Okay, and then what happens?
I came back to my business is in New York, so I came back to New York from Connecticut, and we texted about it or Facebooked about it, and he wanted a deposit down. So I said, okay. So I did a bank transfer for the amount, which I supplied you with.
Right. You did a bank transfer or a Cash App?
It goes through my bank. I did through my bank, which is a copy of my.
Just tell me how did he pay you? Through what mechanism did he pay you, Mr. Jimo?
Cash App.
Cash App. So it goes through your bank. It's linked to your bank, and then you sent $1,500. We have no dispute that there's a $1,500 deposit, right? Everybody agrees on that.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
No dispute.
Okay, so then what happens? You're supposed to come up with the rest of the money, and in your complaint you had said $8,600. Is that correct, Mr. Jimo?
The selling price was $8,400 minus a $1,500. Yeah, $8,400 minus a $1,500 deposit that he Cash App me, and the balance was due in cash at $6,900 on the day of pickup.
Okay. And did you tell him that he would need to bring cash? Or did you assume he would know to bring cash?
No, absolutely not. We in the correspondence via Facebook Marketplace Messenger, I clearly stated on the second to last page of the evidence that I produced to you, it states that the balance was due of $6,900 in cash. Okay,
so talk to me, Mr. Hodling. What do you do on the day that you're supposed to pick up the Bobcat?
Well, I didn't see the thing is I didn't see this, nor did I agree to cash for the rest. So what I did is I went to my bank and I got a bank check for the remaining balance because I didn't want to use my personal checks because I figured, I'm not.
When you say a bank check, what is it you mean?
A certified bank check. I went to the bank and I got a certified bank check from the bank for the balance.
Okay. And
because I didn't want to give him a personal or a business check, so I went and gave him a bank check.
So you came with an envelope and a certified bank check, and Mr. Jimo, why wasn't that good enough?
Because our agreement was in cash, and I would never take any type of check based on the ability to be fraudulent or forge a check.
It used to be that getting a certified check was good enough, and then fraud has gotten so bad that people don't accept that anymore. These certified checks are, they're fraudulently made all the time, and the bank says that's not our check. So tell me how it goes down between the two of you. You're there, you have the certified check. Did you ever tell him, hey, I'm going to bring a certified check?
No.
Okay.
No, I didn't talk to him at all. I didn't talk to him since I corresponded with the deposit, other than getting his address to pick it up.
Okay. On the 17th at 5:09, you send him a text saying balance $6,900, and he says, yes, I got it. I guess you showed him pictures of the deposit. I got it. Yes, the balance is $6,900 cash when you come to pick it up. Call or text before you come. Make sure I'm around. Thanks. You say, well, I never answered that, but he did send it, and it's in your phone. And why would you assume somebody would accept a certified check with the amount of fraud that goes on these days? Why is he unreasonable saying, no, I want cash? Tell me exactly what went down in front of his house, and then I'm going to ask him the same question. You tell me word for word what happened in front of his house.
So I gave him the envelope. He looked at it. He opened it up. He said, no, I'm only accepting cash. He walked directly into his house, into his garage. He raised his hands. He goes, what are you doing? I said, well, I want my deposit back. He says, you're not getting your deposit back. And he walked in the house. And
but I don't understand. Why wasn't that? If someone tells me, no, I'm not going to accept a certified check, I tell them, okay, let me go to the bank, get the money, and come back and get my Bobcat. Why wasn't that what was discussed? Why would you expect him to be giving you your money back?
He walked right into the house.
Yeah, but why weren't you saying, okay, hold on, you have my deposit, let me go to the bank and just get the cash? His text clearly said to you that he wanted cash. But also, why would you assume that he would accept a certified check? I mean,
because it's a bank check.
I don't care. It's a bank check. There's fraud. He's right. You're wrong. He's right.
Okay.
There's fraud everywhere.
Okay.
I know. But so why isn't the discussion, okay, oh, yeah, he did say cash. You look at your phone, you see he did say cash. Tell him, all right, I'll be back tomorrow with the cash. Why wasn't that the discussion?
The discussion, he didn't let me discuss anything. He walked directly into the house.
All right, you tell me, Mr. Giammo, what do you say
I didn't want to
happened?
go to his house and confront him.
Yeah, oh, no, there's no confronting necessary. Why does everybody have to play quien es más macho? How about we just consummate the deal calmly? Mr. Giammo, what do you say happened out there?
Well, when we had our correspondence via Facebook, it was a calm, collected, regular business deal. So when he came to the house, he parked at the end of my driveway. I had the Bobcat ready. He hands me an envelope. I didn't even get the check 1/8 of the way out when I realized this is a check. Where are my $69 $100 bills that we discussed and that we agreed to, as far as I was concerned? So I'm in the process of handing this back. I said, I can't take a bank check. You violated our agreement. And he says, well, I'm not buying it then. I said, like flabbergasted. I'm like, really? So he starts walking back towards his truck. I walk back towards my garage. Like, it was probably about 60 feet. So I turn around, he's still there. And I said, can I help you? Why are you still here? And he said, I want my deposit back. I said, absolutely not.
Stop. Why is this happening? I don't understand everybody. Why isn't don't you want to sell the Bobcat?
Absolutely.
So when you say, why do you look at a check and say, you violated our agreement? This is why text for toxic testosterone is way better than toxic testosterone. Like, I'm wondering, why isn't the thing, I cannot take a check. You're going to need to go to a bank and you're going to need to come back with cash. Look at the text. I texted you. I said it needed to be cash. Why isn't that the discussion? Instead of, you violated our agreement. Why is that? Like, why? How did this break down like this?
Within 3 seconds, the deal went wrong when I said that I'm not accepting a bank check. I can't accept a bank check. This was not our agreement. And that's when he said, I'm not buying the Bobcat. And then literally walked away. So I didn't want a confrontation. He had his steps on there. There were two on one. And yes, you're right about testosterone. Maybe men get a little crazy.
Think? You think? Yeah.
Yeah.
Because this should have been a calm negotiate, like just.
It should have been.
Yeah. And did you ever look at your text and see that he had said cash?
Well, I did when I got back. I didn't at that point.
So then did you pick up the phone and call him and say, hey, I'm sorry, I didn't see this text. Let me come back with the cash tomorrow. Did you do that?
Well, I went all out of my way to go get a trailer. I had my stepson bring his truck and a big trailer to load it onto the trailer.
Is it your son's trailer?
Yes.
So what was the problem with coming back with cash the next day then?
There was no problem other than him. He walked right away and walked into the house.
Okay, but so what if he walks away? Why don't you just call him or text him and tell him, hey, I'm sorry, I just read this. I see that you texted that. I'll tell you why. Because everybody's busy playing Canis Mas Macho. That's why. Where's the Bobcat now, Mr. Giammo?
The Bobcat was sold 2 weeks later for $800 less than Mr. Hotag was going to pay for it. I had a bunch of tire kickers and a bunch of lowball offers. And I finally got to the point where, okay, it's time to sell this. And the person actually brought cash, so it was not a problem.
Right. See, the text is very clear, bring cash. And if you wanted somebody to accept a check, you need it, whether it's a certified check or not. In the old days, people could do that. But there's so much fraud now that people don't accept that. And, you've got to know. It's not even like the guy left you guessing at how to pay for the rest of it. He specifically told you, bring cash. What I'm not understanding is how did you cash app him $1,500 in one day that
day?
Through the computer.
Yes,
so why didn't, right. So
I didn't hand him $100 bills for I didn't have to hand him $100 bills for that. If you're saying he wanted cash, well, I didn't hand him $100 bills for the deposit. So why is that acceptable?
Well, because that you can't take back.
Wow.
So, and the problem with the Cash App is they probably don't allow you to Venmo or Cash App $8,000. They're not going to let you do that because there's a limit per day. So that, he gets immediate money with the Cash App, you see. But if you give him a fraudulent, and I do this every day. I have cases like this where people.
So how does he get the cash? I mean, I've never gotten cash out of Cash App. So they just come and give him $100 bills?
No, it goes immediately from.
Deposit it?
No, it goes immediately from your bank account into his bank account, and he has access.
Oh, okay. So it's in a banking account,
right? But see, so then talk to the guy and say, listen, I'm going to wire you the $8,000, so I have proof that I gave you $8,000. Because when I'm reading your complaint, what you say is the following. There's a spider on my desk.
Did you get him?
I got him.
Oh, the poor thing.
Homie, don't play that. All right. What you say is, I told him I would never just hand over cash, especially since Bobcats don't come with titles. I told him I wanted proof that I paid him the money, and he then walked into the house. You're 100% correct. You don't ever want to hand somebody cash without proof that you paid him the cash. So what you do is you video the transaction. You say, hey, no offense, but I'm going to video the transaction because I want, or you have him, I know.
Let's go old school a little bit.
Old school. No school like the old school. Right. And you have him write a receipt for the $8,000. There should not be a problem with this. But really what should have happened when you got home and you read the text and you saw that is you should have texted him back, look, I'll bring the cash tomorrow. Instead, now we're in a position where you're mad at him for being rude. He's mad at you for not abiding by the contract because that is how this should have gone down. And then you decide, well, I'm just going to get my $1,500 back. Do you guys ever have communication again after this day?
No.
Nothing.
I really thought he was going to call me within an hour saying that he would go cash the check. But that never happened.
Was it a weekday?
No, it was I believe it was a Saturday.
So maybe he couldn't. Plus, he says it was a bank in New York and he was in Connecticut and blah, blah, blah. He lives down in this town. So I don't know why it would have been a problem to just give you the money another day. Because you gambled. What happened, Mr. Hodling, is that you gambled that I'd be ordering him to return your deposit. And based on the facts that I'm hearing, I'm not going to order him to return your deposit. He specifically told you bring cash. He doesn't have to accept a check. There's too much fraud now for him to. There's no law that says he has to accept your certified check. When he told you, I'm not going to accept that, your next move was to say to him, all right, let me come back. But your next move wasn't that. Let me come back in 2 days. It's Saturday. The bank's not open until Monday. Let's work it out. I'll bring it back on Monday. But instead, your next move is to say, get me my money. And that was a gamble. And now the thing is sold. He doesn't have to return your deposit. My verdict is for the defendant. But honestly, it is sad because this didn't have to be this way. This didn't have to be this way. Calmer minds eventually. And frankly, where's your stepson? Because he's the guy who should have been the calmer mind, should have prevailed, and this deal should have just been consummated 2 days later. Good luck, gentlemen. Verdict for the defendant.
Thank you.
So the plaintiff does not get his $1,500 back. Mr. Hodling, let me ask you, the judge thinks you could have gotten your money back. You could have gotten the deal had you been a little smarter. Do you have any regrets about the way you acted?
No. It happens.
No. Very interesting. Well, it cost you $1,500 to play a macho guy, and look, he told you he wanted cash.
Nothing
you didn't
macho.
do it.
I didn't say
So
one
he
word. So
wins.
I wasn't trying to be macho. I just didn't want to do. I didn't want to do the deal. It wasn't a macho deal. It's just I didn't
Okay.
yell or scream. There was no macho. Nobody. No.
Okay, so you didn't want to do the deal. It cost you $1,500. Sorry about that. That's the way it is, Mr. Gmo. Since you sold the device, I guess you're not bothered at all, are you? Made a little bit less money, but
A little less money, but I'm happy that the deal went through with somebody that, in a good mindset. And I got the cash that I requested, and the judge's decision was great, and I appreciate it.
all righty. Okay, well, that's a very interesting outcome to this case.
Okay, Doug. Well, look, we have seen situations like this where the method of payment becomes the issue in a court case. And in a situation like this, if there was silence on exactly what form of payment there should be, I would think a check would be acceptable. But in a situation like this one, there seemed to be proof that the defendant expected cash, and the plaintiff cannot change the deal.
How do you have a positive attitude for life and people in general after seeing people being so ugly to each other?
I think it's practice, really. I think it affected me more when I first became a judge. I think after almost 30 years, it's been 30 years.
Yeah.
Wow, 27 years on the bench. Long time. You start to get, I don't know, I think I have a harder shell than you do. You're a much nicer guy than I am. And I think that this stuff affects you more, wouldn't you say?
It does affect me, and especially when I was on the family court bench, it made me insane, and I got home, and I think I brought those psychological traumas that you experience trying to mediate and get in between.
Yeah, you were very. You would always tell me, they all want me to decide what happens with little Johnny. How am I better equipped than the parents? You would always be very upset that they couldn't.
Me
figure
down to how to cut little Johnny's hair.
Yeah, I know.
What kind of clothes they should wear. You name it. So, but I think most people at their essence are decent people, are good people, and hopefully are going to...
That's the difference between you.
are going to be nice to each other.
You're a very positive guy. I just assume everyone's trying to pull one over on me all the time.
Thank God I've got you to watch my back at that.
Oh, and thank God I've got you to make me not a miserable person.
This is the plaintiff, Francesca. She says she rented her $2 million New Jersey Shore beach house to the defendant for 1 week, and she practically destroyed the place. She was outraged the defendant treated her house with such disregard and is suing her for the $757.30 she's owed for damages. This is the defendant, Leslie. She says she didn't break a thing in the house. If she did, she would own up to it and can afford it, thank you very much. The plaintiff is lying. This is very bothersome to her, and she's not giving her a dime because she treated the house like it was her own. She's accused of trashing the place.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, Ms. Francesca, you are suing Ms. Leslie, who rented your house because according to you, she did some damage and you want to be able to lay claim to the security deposit, which right now, I guess, is in the hands of the real estate broker, correct? In escrow? Okay, so
Correct.
You've come to me so that I can decide where to tell that money to go. Got it. So talk to me, Ms. Francesca, what happened?
We rented our beach house to the defendant through a rental agency. We provided the rental agency all the information that the tenant would need, including a tenant letter that was very specific with instructions on what to do during their stay. After 36 hours, the defendant reported a broken blind. We checked with the cleaning service that does a very specific COVID cleaning, and they said that they would have noticed if the blind was damaged prior to the defendant checking in.
Hold on one second. Can I see where the cleaning service said we would have noticed if the blind was damaged prior to her checking in?
That's not written in any text or email.
Oh, so you don't have any proof of that? You didn't get a statement from the cleaning people saying what you just said, did you?
I have a text message from the cleaning service.
And what does that text message say?
It says that they didn't notice that the blind was
right.
broken.
That's not the same from, that is not anywhere near what you said, which was we would have noticed if it had been broken. So and that's important because that's what all this stuff falls on. You're saying there's damage. She's saying I didn't do it. And you got to prove she did do it. Now, let me talk to you, Ms. Leslie. This is a rental of a home it's actually a beautiful home too. So this is a $2 million home that is on the ocean, correct, Ms. Francesca?
Correct.
And how many bedrooms?
It's 4 bedrooms.
And it rents out for how much? In this particular case, how much was the weekly lease?
They change per week. I don't recall right.
I'm sure Ms. Leslie remembers because it came out of her pocket. How much was it? How much was it, Ms. Leslie?
It was $9,000.
$9,000 for the 7 days, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Correct.
All right. Now, according to you, Ms. Francesca, there were rules and regulations that were given to the defendant that say that she has to tell you about any damage within the first 24 hours.
We require 24 hours. The rental agencies says that they need to be notified immediately.
Okay. So how would Ms. Leslie have received, because I know that's not in the lease, right? Nowhere does it say in the lease that you have to report any damage within 24 hours.
In the lease it says immediately. The lease that they get from the rental agency says that they have to report it immediately.
Right, but it doesn't say you have to do a thorough canvassing of the house and report anything or else you're assuming a responsibility for it. In other words, if they saw a broken blind, they can't sit on it for 2 weeks. They saw a broken blind, they immediately texted the realtor and told them about it as soon as they found it because the broken blind was behind a sofa, Ms. Leslie?
Yes, it was.
Did you take a picture of the broken blind?
Yes, I did.
All right. And did you send that immediately to the broker?
Yes, I did.
Is this an accurate picture of it?
It is. To the lower right is the sofa.
So I don't know if it's covered by the sofa, but it is, just behind the sofa.
You can clearly see the sofa.
Yeah, it looks like the sofa's underneath it, but yeah, the issue is who broke it, and what do you do with the fact that they notified the realtor, but according to you, it was at the 36-hour mark, right?
Correct.
When would Ms. Leslie have received those rules where you as the owner say, here are the rules and here's what you got to do. This is when garbage gets picked up. This is when this and, all the rules. When would she receive that?
We tell the agent to make it a priority to get them the information 1 week prior to check-in so that the information is fresh in their mind and that they're reading it and they're not forgetting anything.
Right.
We also...
Do you have the agent to call as a witness here on your behalf?
No.
Okay. Now, Ms. Leslie, when did you receive the instructions?
It was within the a week and a half before. I kept getting almost every day papers.
Different
the
papers?
Realtor, different papers with different times, different dates, different orders.
Do you have all of them? Do they conflict? I don't know what you're saying. I'm not understanding what you're saying.
Some things conflicted. The things that conflicted were the times that I could go into the house or the times that I was supposed to leave the house. Each paper had a different time.
Okay.
But,
so what were the different times the papers had?
The time on the paper that I had to sign on the lease was I could come in no earlier than 2 p.m. on the 20th of June, and I could leave no later than 11 a.m. on the 27th of June.
Come in no earlier than 2 p.m. and end date 6/27, no later than 11 a.m. But then you send Ms. Francesca some documents to her that say you got to be out by 9:30, but that completely conflicts with what she paid for. So what? And you're actually suing, which is kind of nervy, seeing that you've read the lease and you know it says 11, you're suing for $125 late fee because you told your cleaning company to be there at 9:30 and they had to wait for her to leave.
And as you can see from the text messages that I sent, we made every attempt to get her the information that was incorrect.
Well, no, but you don't get that chance, though. You don't get that chance. See, you made the realtor your agent because they're your agent. It's much easier to work and not have people contact you directly. So there's a cost that comes with that. If you're unhappy with them, never hire them again. Okay, but that's fine. But you can't make them your agent, give them your apparent authority, allow them to contract with her for 11, and then say to her, get out an hour and a half earlier because here, my instructions say so. No. Let's talk about the real issue here, which is the blind and the chair. So, Ms. Leslie, how many people did you have there that week?
I had 12 people.
12 people. And there's no problem with that because you actually advertise that the house sleeps 12 people, right, Ms. Francesca? Right. Okay. So go on, Ms. Leslie.
Can I just explain something?
Yeah.
I had 12 people. It was my family. And 2 days after we arrived, my daughter and granddaughter showed up as a surprise for me. And so they stayed a few days. I couldn't throw them out. And so
sleep under the stars. All right, but I have a question for you. I know what happened with the blind. We've gone over it. You saw it, and you saw it after the 24 hours. Let's look at the picture of the chair because there's a spindle missing on the chair. And my question to you is,
I've never seen a picture of the chair.
All right, I'm going to show it to you now. Okay, so there's a spindle missing completely, not broken, but just completely missing. In the chair.
I think I would have noticed that.
Okay. So did you take any pictures when you left or no?
No.
That's always a really good idea to take pictures when you come in.
That is, and I would do that from now on.
Right. I know. You live and you learn. But you take very incredibly painfully slow video through the house when you come in and incredibly painfully slow video through the house when you leave. If you go like this, it's not going to be probative of anything. But that's advice I give to every tenant, whether it's a 1-week tenancy or a 1-year tenancy. All right. When did this get noticed, Ms. Francesca? This is noticed, I think, by the cleaning people, right?
Correct.
And what day do they notice that?
The day they checked out.
This security deposit was a deposit in the amount of what? $1,500?
$1,500, correct. $1,500.
Okay. You had agreed to one of the violations because you ended up getting fined by the town because you left too much garbage out when you left. The cans were not closed, so there was a fine. What was the fine?
I don't know. I don't remember the exact fine, but I gave permission to the realty company to release the money for that.
Right.
Because
so
I felt
Ms.
that
Francesca,
was my fault.
Right, and it was. Ms. Francesca, how much was that?
$300. And she did agree to it because they paid for it.
Okay, so just let me ask you, and let's sidestep. Ms. Leslie, you don't dispute that you allowed $300 of the $1,500 to go her way already to handle the garbage issue, correct?
I do not dispute that. I allowed that, yes.
I'd like to see, give me a moment, because what I'd like to look at now are the texts from the cleaning people. Your departure date was what date? The 27th, Ms. Leslie?
Yes.
Do you always use the same people?
Yes.
Did anyone in your group break that chair, Ms. Leslie?
No, they did not, and they didn't know anything about it. And when the only thing I knew was I was told a spindle was broken on the chair. And I did not have any small children or raucous people in the house. It wasn't a party house. It was my family.
Right. It's pretty. Can I just ask you a question? Because I'm looking at the chair and it's pretty. To me, it's pretty obvious. So
yes, it is very obvious,
right? So, what do you think happened though? Because this text is sent. Because let me just explain something. She has the same cleaning people all the time. The text is sent immediately when the cleaning people come in. Immediately after you guys leave. She sees this, and the first thing she does is send her a text telling her, hey, look, so if not your group, then who? Because if it's the same cleaning people, I would assume, and this is so obvious to all three of us, as it is to the cleaning people, that the week before when they cleaned, if they had seen this, they would have sent it. So perhaps I know that it didn't happen in front of you, but there are 12 to 14 people there while you're not there. How do I know somebody in your group didn't accidentally break it and then, I don't know. I don't know. But if it wasn't noticed by those cleaning people beforehand, and I know that they didn't say, oh, I would have noticed that. She's trying to make the case better than it is by saying, oh, they told me that they would have noticed that. That is not what they said. What they said, let's quote them directly. Where's the actual text from the cleaning people saying, I did not notice it that way before?
That's referring to the blind. And then they show a picture of the chair.
There's no words back and forth between you guys on the chair?
We did have a conversation because at that point.
So there's no text in between you guys regarding the chair?
No, when she sent me that picture, I was so mortified, I called her immediately.
Did they give you an affidavit for today? Did you seek an affidavit from them, or are they available to speak to me?
I'm sure that you could call. I can give you their number. I mean, they're a cleaning service. They pretty much work.
Is it always the same?
Day.
Is it always the same person who goes?
The owner of the cleaning service, because we are the first house that they clean on what is considered a changeover, comes to every single cleaning at our house. And she reports to me every single cleaning with every
Try to
tenant.
Get her on the phone. Try to get her on the phone. And if you get her, put her on speaker. I want to ask her some questions. Ms. Leslie, let me ask you a question. Was there something your family was celebrating? Sure. Or was this just a family vacation and reunion?
It's for the last 50 years, I have been renting a house in Long Beach Island with my family for a week for the last 50 years, since my children were small children, and now we come with the grandchildren. And it's something we love doing, and we've always done it, and I have never had a problem before.
I have Natty on the line.
Good.
Hey, Natty, are you there?
Yes.
This is Judge Marilyn Milian from the People's Court. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Okay.
How can I help you?
Natty, can you run a cleaning service that apparently Miss Francesca was hiring to take care of that house in
Grant Beach, New Jersey.
Correct, Natty?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. And so what I wanted to ask you is, do you remember I'm sure you clean a lot of houses and you clean, we're talking about stuff that happened almost a year ago, but it was in the summer of last year, and it's a blue chair that is in the dining room that a spindle was missing.
Yes, I do remember that.
I thought you might. Now, did you clean the place the week before?
Yes, I did.
Do you recall whether or not the spindle was missing the week before?
No. I mean, I do recall that it was not.
Okay. And you seem to have a specific recollection that it didn't look that way before. Why? Because you would have noticed something like that and you would have reported it.
Because every time I go into Miss Francesca's home, I walk the entire house and check everything. I document and I take pictures of anything that has been broken, misplaced, dirty, soiled.
Okay. Thank you, Natty. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. I'll talk to you soon.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye.
Okay, Ms. Leslie, go ahead.
Yes, and that morning when we were leaving, we vacuumed every room that had carpeting, we swept every floor, we cleaned the counters, and we moved, obviously, the dining room chairs. That is where we ate all the time. And none of us noticed a broken chair.
All right. Yeah, Miss Leslie, I hear what you're saying. The thing is, you didn't rent the place alone, okay? There were other people there. And I got to tell you, I do find Natty's testimony compelling. And I had a sense of what kind of operation Natty was running from the myriad of texts that came before. I did see, like the first thing she does is walk around and start taking pictures, which she would have done the week before. So I think that the question is close enough on that one where, I don't believe it was handed to you that way. Regarding the blind, I don't know. I do know that as soon as you saw it, you turned around and you reported it. The blinds, I think you're kind of more covered because it really was almost 24 hours after moving in. I do not find that you had a requirement to complain about anything within 24 hours. Your only requirements are what's in the lease you signed. When you receive instructions, those are one-sided, sua sponte, suggestions, not requirements. And your email came to them the day after you moved in. So I think that's soon enough to say, hey, wasn't me. But regarding the chair, I think it's closer, and I think I'm leaning in favor of the plaintiff for that. So here's what's going to happen. I'm going to order another 216 to go her way, and I'm going to order the release of everything else that you were entitled to get back. That's how my order's going to read for the escrow agent to release the funds. I wish you all good luck, and hopefully neither of you have to go through anything like this ever again. Good luck, folks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So the plaintiff is going to get $216 back from the escrow company. Ms. Leslie, how do you feel about that? You seem like you're really a very fastidious person yourself and very careful, and you seem okay with that. Am I right?
Yeah, I mean, I did not see it. I was the last one to leave the house, and I didn't see it. But I'm satisfied with what the judge said.
Okay, all right. Ms. Francesca, let me ask you, are you okay?
Yeah, it's fine. I'm okay with replacing the chair. We've replaced the chair. We've replaced the blinds. We've definitely learned a lot. We've also amended our contract so that the information that we provide the tenants is now something that is a part of the contract that they sign for.
Good enough. Thank you very much. Congratulations.
So, Doug, it's an interesting case. Remember, the defendant notified the plaintiff a couple of days in that the blinds were damaged. This is the stuff that should be done beforehand. When you rent a place, when you move into a place, you take pictures of any damage, if you're the tenant, so that you can prove it was this way going in. If you're the landlord, you take pictures of everything to show there is no damage. That's the way you prove a case. That's the way you win a lawsuit. And photographs are king. You take photos before, you take photos after, and you compare the two. We have seen hundreds of these cases in the People's Court, hundreds, and the person with the best pictures is usually the winner.
So, Marilyn, what are you afraid of?
What am I afraid of? I assume we're not talking about things like ill health and major stuff. You're talking about
zombie apocalypse.
Zombie apocalypse isn't high on my.
No.
So I think the thing that as you know, any flying bug freaks me out. Well, not anyone. I mean, mosquitoes and flies don't, but any big bug that flies, like anything that looks like a roach and flies.
Right.
There's a lot of critters in North Carolina in the house that's in the woods and. Right. And that freaks everybody
and in Florida.
out. Mice. I don't like mice either.
Right. Well,
Apparently,
God.
I don't like spiders either because I whacked one with my.
Well, thank God. Thank God you're afraid of
startled
these
me.
kinds of things because that keeps me in a job.
That's right.
That keeps me needed and around.
Yeah, that's why I married you.
Because let's face it, critter relocation and disposal, that's one of my specialties.
That's right. It used to be kitty litter, and we don't have a cat. And it used to be the baby diaper genie.
Right.
And that's gone. So you better find a utility. So.